What's up guys, today we're going to be reviewing Wolf by Tyler the Creator. Now this is one of my personal favorite Tyler projects because after Goblin we didn't know where he was going to go, and what we got was this beautiful second rendition of Wolf. Obviously the first rendition was tracks that would later be inspired to be Goblin, but Wolf is this beautiful album that ties together the Wolf trilogy and Tyler's first album trilogy that really caps it off and finishes it and lays down the groundwork to Flower Boy and Igor and what we have in Tyler today. This is one of my personal favorite projects, obviously not his best project because we have Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost and Flower Boy, but it's one of my favorites. So today we'll be doing a vinyl review, an individual song review, and an overall album review, so stay tuned for that. As well as I'll tell you where I picked this album up, which is off eBay, not very impressive, but this is the most I've ever paid for an album, coming in at around $110 because these albums are hard to come by, especially on the pink that I have and all. Now this is probably the most expensive record I have, coming in at about $110 of where I got it off eBay. This is the front cover of the album, obviously. And then we open it up and we got the nice gatefold Wolf and the scenery. And then on the back we got this art as well. Now the cool thing about Tyler the Creator albums is each one of the records comes with their own album cover as well as back art of each of the songs and the lyrics of them, with some cool artwork by Tyler as well. Now this album is also really cool because it comes on a very custom pink, and it's also a 2 LP obviously because there's 24 songs on this album. And the other one comes with the lyrics as well as the drawings, and also on the pink obviously. And another very cool album cover. This is actually my favorite album cover of Wolf as a whole. And then it also comes with this insert of who produced each song, as well as the people who are on the song as well. And it's double-sided because there's a lot of songs on this album as well. So next we will go to individual song review. Now starting off with the intro track Wolf. This song is one of the best intro tracks by Tyler, I would say. Instead of Igor's theme and the forward and Flower Boy were obviously better, but this is what I would say the third best. So if I had to give this song a rating, I would rate it a 7 out of 10. Now moving on to Jamba, featuring Haji. Now I don't like Haji's part on this song as much as I like Tyler's, and this song is definitely a weaker song on this project, so I would have to give it a 6 out of 10. Although there's a great beat and Tyler's part is not too bad, the Haji feature kind of lets me down on this one. Now moving on to Cowboy. I think this song is very underrated. It's a great song about and an intro track to Sam, the alter ego in this album, and I don't think there's anything not to like in this song. Honestly, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Next is Awkward. Awkward is one of those awkward songs to listen to, as in it's a love song between Sam and his girlfriend, who is the antagonist in this album and in the Wolf trilogy. And it's honestly, it's not one of the best tracks, but not one of the worst tracks. So I'd give it another 7 out of 10. Now, Dalmo 23, this is where I get a little bit controversial. The first time I listened to this one, I didn't like it, and I still don't really like it today, so I'm going to have to give this one a 5 out of 10. Next is Answer. Answer is a great track about Tyler's father, and one of the first ones we've seen without him constantly swearing, and like it is in Bastard and Goblin. This track is great, and I'd have to give it a 9 out of 10. Moving on to Slater, which is a great song with Tyler and features from Frank Ocean. And this song, Frank Ocean feature is great. The Tyler verse is great. This is Cowboy but better. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Moving on to 48. 48 is a great song that details Sam's life in gangs and drugs. and it's a great song. It's got vocals by Frank Ocean, and it's just a all over great song, as I've said multiple times. So I'd have to give this one an 8 out of 10. Moving on to Colossus, this song details Tyler having a run-in with a fan who's definitely very over the top, and this song is very well, it sounds like a song that would be on Goblin, but better than Goblin. So I'd have to give this one another 8 out of 10. Party Isn't Over is one of those songs that, like, you listen to just to, because it's a three-parter, you listen to just to get to Beamer, honestly. So I'd have to give this one, it's a weaker one, I'd have to give it a 6 out of 10. Campfire is another song that, honestly, I just listen to try and get to Beamer, and I'd have to give this one a 5 out of 10 because it's not as good as Party Isn't Over, in my opinion. Next, we have Beamer. This is one of the strongest songs on this album. Great vocals once again by Frank Ocean, and a great song by Tyler as well. So I'd have to give this one a 9 out of 10. Now moving on to the second side of the record, we have I Fucking Hate You featuring Pharrell. This is a great Pharrell and Tyler song about Sam and dealing with the ongoing relationship with Salem. And I'd have to give this one a 10 out of 10. It's very, very, very well put together, and it's very good overall. Next, we have Pigs, which is a once again detailed song about Sam and his past life. And this one is not a strong song, but it's not a weak song, and I honestly think it's good. So I'd have to give it a 7 out of 10. Next, we have Parking Lot, and this song is a good song about Sam's feelings after finding out that he's been hanging out with Wolf Haley, and this song is a very good one, and I'd give it a 8 out of 10. Next, moving on to Rusty. This is a very good rap song by Tyler, and very good vocal verse by Earl Sweatshirt as well as Stoma Genesis at the start of the song. So I'd have to give this one a 10 out of 10. Trash Wang is one of those songs that you just wish you could kind of skip. So for that, I'd have to give this one a 4 out of 10, honestly. Next, we move on to Tree Home 95, which is a vocal song. This song is just kind of there, so I'd have to give it a 5 out of 10. Next, moving on to Tamale, which is a song that's kind of separate from the Wolf album, but it's another very good song, kind of like Colossus, so I'd have to give this one an 8 out of 10. Next, moving on to the closing track, Lone. This song is another really, really good song, and it's a very good closer, probably one of the best closers that Tyler's ever done, so I'd have to give this one a 9 out of 10. And that's my individual song rating. So, final thoughts on the album. The album's really good. It's a great lead up into the future projects of Tyler. It shows how he can use the love triangle idea, which is later used in Igor, but used way better in Igor, since Igor is a masterpiece. But this album is way better than Cherry Bomb. And that's saying something since that album came out like 2 years later. But this album is still really good. And even going back now, you can still listen to all these songs and still think they're really good. So if I had to give this album a final overall rating, it would be between an 8 and a 9. So I would say a strong 8 and a light 9. And that is my final rating of this album. Tell me if you enjoy this album. Tell me other albums that I should review. I hope you enjoyed the vinyl review. I picked it up on eBay. My other records will come from other places probably, because I have like a set store. A really good store if you're in Canada like me is Taz, but if you don't have access to that, eBay works as well, even though you may have to end up paying a little bit more than you bargained for. But that's it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.